Alright guys, we're here to do the rig walkthrough. TC Electronics, Diesel, all the good toys that we're using. I don't have my guitars. They're all with the rest of the band gear. I normally play Sir Moderns and Anderson drop tops. This is the down from up rig that I normally use, and those are the guitars that are going into it. So I guess the best place to start will be over in this area. So let's just start at the bottom and work our way up. Maybe that'll make more sense. This is a Diesel Herbert head. It's 3 channels, MIDI. It rocks. It's my favorite amp for the down from up sound. I got tons of other stuff, but this is the one I use in this rig. It's got a lot of different voicing and stuff like that. Inside, we have 3 pedals that are all in the G Systems loops. Cool thing is your pedals don't have to be true bypass. The G System takes them out of the loop, takes that whole loop out of the equation, rather. From left to right, we've got an EVH Phase 90. I use that with the script down. You can see all the settings. That stays at 9 o'clock. We've got a full tone OCD here. I don't know which version of this one it is. I know a lot of guys argue over a better sounding version. I have no idea which one this is. This is the one I went into a guitar store and played, and it sounded good. So that's that version. I use it in low pass. I don't know if you guys can see that. The settings are real conservative. Use it just on the clean channel for a little Gilmore kind of vibe. Over here we have a Barber tone press. Cool thing about this is it's a parallel compressor. Essentially what that's doing is you've got your basic Dynacomp style with 2 knobs, volume and sustain, and this knob in the middle is a blend knob. It blends the uncompressed signal with the compressed signal. Normally I like the Carl Martin compressors and Dynacomps and Keeley comps and full tones and all that stuff, but for down from up I just like to get a little bit more clean sound and just blend in that compression. The blend is at about 1 o'clock. Decimator, ProRack G, noise gate, there's nothing really to say there. I'll leave everything kind of at noon, 12:30, it sounds good. Now this dude right here is the TC Electronic G System. It is kind of running the show on everything. The 3 pedals in the drawer are in the loops of the G System. I'm running it the 4 cable method, which means the wireless signal. This is an X2 digital wireless. We're going X2 into the front of the decimator, into the G System, into the front of the amp, out of the amp, back into the decimator, back to the G System. So I'm doing that so I can get my delays and reverbs and modulations, time-based effects after the gate, so the gate won't chop off my delays and whatnot. All you big gear nerds would already know that, but for those that don't, that's how I run it. If we'll go over here, this is the controller. Okay, these are just the settings that I use. This is the clean setting on the amp. I use the compressor there for that. And then some delay and verb, and this is a very wet, clean, Eric Johnson-y kind of thing. I go over here, I dial back the wetness with delay and reverb, pull that back so it's not washy, and put the OCD on it. Now this I like this sound for more bluesier tones. If I'm trying to get just a nice driven clean tone but nothing gainy, just a good pushed amp sound, that's what I'll do, and I'll push it with the compressor and the OCD on at the same time. This is a completely dry channel, as you can see. Nothing on is the crunch channel that I use. This is the main down from up rhythm channel. You see the filter on up here. All that is globally is my wah. So anytime you see that on, that's what that is. I think I've got one setting in here somewhere that's a whammy. Yeah, there it is. So I use that there. Other than that, the filter is always doing the wah. My lead setting just has a little bit of pitch that I talked about earlier and some delay just to make it sound nice and wide. And on the far end, we've got a lo-fi sound. This is like a playing your rig through an AM radio. There's a bunch of crazy modulations and filters on that. But it sounds really cool with those 2. I don't even know what I did to get it there. I just started turning knobs in extreme manners, and all of a sudden it sounded like I'm playing through a little pig nose or something, and I thought, yeah, that's awesome. So I use that from some in-between sound effects that are actually keyboards on the record. I'll use this live to kind of make it sound cool. One of the things that I'd like to point out I get a lot of questions about how I set an amp up, and this really kind of changes from room to room, or maybe just how I feel at that particular moment. But one thing that doesn't change is, I don't know why, but my ears, I kind of feel like I leave the mid cut on all the time, but I'm not using it to cut the mids. I put the level up to about 1230, and I leave the intensity down really low, between 8 and 830 if it's a clock dial. And I think it does something that sounds really cool to the tone when it's on. And some people have tried it and they don't really hear a difference. Some people are like, yeah, man, that's how I run it. So, I mean, if you got one of these amps, maybe you should give it a go. And the other good thing about the diesel head is it's MIDI, which leads us back to the TC unit. I do all my channel switching with one button because the TC sends a MIDI out. You know, the great thing about the G system is it's got analog switches too, so it can change channels on, say, a Mesa Mark IV or whatever. I've got a Bob Bradshaw 4x4 up here. If I want to use another amp with this whole rig, the G system makes it really, really easy to do it. It allows me to integrate things whenever I want. If I get a new amp and I just want to throw it on top and run a stereo or switch back and forth, I can do all of that with this piece of gear right here. And it's cool to have all my pedals already wired up. I mean, you know, I didn't grow up playing in the 80s, but in the 80s guys would have, you know, refrigerator racks full of stuff to essentially get done what I'm doing in a really small convenient rig. And I think the main two pieces, being the G system and the diesel, they work really good for me. Over here are just expression pedals, Yamaha expression pedals. They're okay, just to be honest. I'm not really crazy about them. But TC has got pedals coming out. Maybe they'll be out by the time you see this, that are expression and volume designed for this unit. So that'll be nice. Get those things off there. I use the tap tempo a lot, so none of my delay times and stuff are really set in stone. I use the pitch just a little bit. I say maybe adjust the sense on how you want it to, you know, I use like 10, 12, something like that. Nothing big. Use the mix at like 5 just to give it some depth. And that's only on leads. Like I said, the main channel is completely dry. All the effects in this thing rock. The delays and reverbs are really analog, really warm. They sound good. These are the German cabs that Terry sent me. They're the first two in the U.S. They're the front-loaded G12K100s, and that's a combination that I never really thought I would enjoy. I've always played rear-loaded cabs, Marshall Mesa, stuff like that, with vintage 30s. That's always been how I've done things. And when I was in the diesel booth at NAMM, I tried these cabs out with this head and was blown away. And so I said, you know, I'd love to try them for some shows. Did the Down From Up CD release party for our new album, which you should all go buy, with these cabs. And I was amazed at how I didn't get any phasing issues on where I stood. Big problem I always had with my old cabs is I get 15, 20 feet out, I'd have problems with them. Like, it seems like the bass frequencies were traveling a lot slower than treble frequencies, and I was getting no low end. These cabinets throw it right out there without feeling stiff and unnatural. So, like I said, these are the brand new German-made diesel cabinets, front-loaded G12K100s. They rock, and I think that's pretty much going to do it. Other than that, you know, a couple of guitars and a set list, and cross your fingers. So.